Welcome. Today we pause to celebrate the life, the legacy, and the work of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. My name is William Hall, and I am the senior pastor of St. James Community Church, but I come from Rainbow Push. I come from moments with Reverend Jackson as he shared with me intimate moments that he had with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And so on today, we want to celebrate the history, the work, the life, and the legacy, and we also want to be inspired and make an investment in our young people. Today, you're going to hear some amazing stories from scholars all across the nation who will begin to lead us, the next generation of doctors, lawyers, teachers, and freedom fighters. And so we want you to consider today investing with us, partnering with us. We know that the right to vote is under attack. We hear about stories of young people not having access to healthcare and food. We know that even though it might be dark, we are pushing our young people to excellence. We want young people to experience moments that they never thought they would experience. And this is why today we need your support. We want to send 10 young people to school, send them to the best educational institutions across this country. Who knows that your investment today will shape the minds of tomorrow? If we do not help and invest into our young people today, there won't be a tomorrow. So why don't you consider today partnering with us through your generosity as we look to again send 10 young people to 10 amazing universities. So join us as we raise $100,000 today, because we want our young people to know that we are pushing you to excellence. So we're getting ready to hear some amazing insight, some stories, some moments today with Felicia Lawrence, Josh Morris, and none other than the living legend himself, Bill Curtis. Stay tuned.
The images we just saw were recorded over a period of 60 years, from the 1960s to present day, yet the reasons for the calls to action remain stubbornly consistent.
Poverty, hollowed out neighborhoods, underfunded schools, and substandard housing. The social injustices that drove people to the streets in the 60s continue to cripple communities of color.
Unemployment, disinvestment, violence. The need has never been more critical, and our communities have never paid a higher price for neglecting our young people. Hello, everyone. I'm Felicia Lawrence.
And I'm Josh Morris. So why hasn't much changed, and what was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision at the time he recognized change had to come?
Every year, we honor Dr. King with celebrations all over the country. This year, we want to focus on 55 years of his Northern Initiative, led by Reverend Jesse Jackson from Operation Breadbasket to Rainbow Push Coalition. This effort was born from Dr. Martin Luther King's own vision of racial and economic parity, his commitment to addressing social injustice, ensuring access to safe, clean, and affordable housing, and making sure that every student has access to a high-quality public education. But when an assassin's bullet cut short Dr. King's young life, Reverend Jackson made that vision his life's work.
One bullet cannot stop a movement, Reverend Jackson said in the aftermath of King's assassination. That movement continues into the here and now. We honor the birth and legacy of Martin Luther King by recommitting to the work that remains unfinished.
But first, let's take a step back to see where Rainbow Push Coalition and its many forms got started. Here's Bill Curtis with more.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and the Reverend Jesse Jackson were allies in the same war. Together they walked on the front lines of a battle for racial and economic equity. Dr. King understood that Northern racism was better hidden than the in-your-face bigotry of the South. But in practice, it was just as virulent and even more dangerous. The practice of redlining prevented minorities from living in certain neighborhoods or acquiring mortgages. In 1966, Dr. King moved his family into a deplorable Chicago Lawndale apartment, 1550 South Hamlin, a third-floor walk-up. Dr. King saw firsthand what it was like living in these conditions. He resolved to shed a light on substandard, unhealthy, and dangerous housing. Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. was a seminary student at Chicago Theological Seminary when Dr. King appointed him to lead Southern Christian Leadership Conference's Northern Campaign, known as Operation Breadbasket. Operation Breadbasket was based on the principle, we must keep a slice of bread in the Black community by supporting Black-owned businesses and professionals. Operation Breadbasket became a crucial component of King's Chicago campaign, using picket lines and boycotts to force businesses located in Black neighborhoods to hire Black workers, use Black-owned banks, and stock Black products and brands on store shelves. In its first year, Operation Breadbasket, under Reverend Jackson's charismatic leadership, helped create 2,000 new jobs worth $15 million a year in new income to the Black community. King led marchers through segregated neighborhoods of Marquette Park and neighboring Gage Park to a real estate office to dramatize the need for desegregated housing in Chicago. Dr. King and the marchers were confronted by several thousand white counter-protesters, many of whom displayed Confederate flags and swastikas. They attacked the marchers with bricks, bodies, and cherry bombs while shouting racial insults. At this point, Dr. King was struck in the head with a brick. He said after the march,
"Well, this is a terrible thing. I've been in many demonstrations all across the South, but I can say that I have never seen, even in Mississippi and Alabama, mobs as hostile and as hate-filled as I've seen in Chicago."
3 years after the assassination of Dr. King, the fight continued on several fronts. By 1971, Jackson had broken away from the SCLC and established Operation Push, People United to Save Humanity, which later turned to People United to Serve Humanity. In 1975, Reverend Jackson would find an even more urgent mission, minority youth. He began Push for Excellence as a way to demand better schools and to give students the support and moral guidance to raise expectations for what they could be.
And I am somebody. My mind is a pearl. I can learn anything.
Push Excel cast a wide net and built a coalition of like-minded social activists. They recruited students, parents, teachers, administrators, and churches, and together they held government officials accountable.
Down with dope. Up with hope. Nobody will save us from us, for us, but us. Right on.
By 1977, the vision was coming into fruition. The Los Angeles Board of Education awarded Push XL more than $400,000 to implement its programs to uplift, discipline, and give tough love. Their strategy worked then, and it works now.
In our next segment, we'll see how Push Excel programs changed lives, empowered neighborhoods, and inspired generations of students.
To be positioned for the future, companies are ready to implement energy-efficient opportunities to improve workplace comfort. That's why businesses throughout Northern Illinois are partnering with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program to find up to 35% in energy savings. Because at ComEd, we're not just powering for the now, we're powering your business for what's ahead.
Before you go there, or fist bump there, or, oh, I can't wait to go there, or reunite there. Start here.
Walgreens makes it easy to stay protected wherever you go. Schedule your free COVID-19 booster today.
If you know Reverend Jackson, or if you've heard Reverend Jackson has some amazing phrases that have inspired us for years. One of them is, I am somebody. Or maybe it's keep hope alive. When your back's up against the wall, Reverend Jackson will tell you, the ground is no place for a champion. But when Reverend Jackson gets in the classroom, or whenever he's giving a lecture, or when he's walking in the hallways of universities and or schools, he has 5 A's that he reminds the young people about. Yeah, these 5 A's of excellence. Number 1 is attendance. That's right, A for attendance, making sure that you're in school. Secondly, it's paying attention. That A is attention. Thirdly, it is the atmosphere. When you show up to school, what do you bring to those classrooms? Then last but not least, it's your attitude and your achievement. The right attitude is what helps you to achieve. The Push Excel Oratorical Society wants to take a moment to share a tribute to the life, the legacy of none other than Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is without a doubt one of the most inspiring men of history. His life and legacy touched so many people, young and old, rich and poor, men and women, black and white.
His call for equality. His demand for freedom.
And his message of love lives in the consciousness of anyone who has read his writings.
Ring in the heart of anyone who has heard him speak.
And echo in the souls of all who have heard him preach.
In life, he encouraged many people who were broken down and tried to use their faith to move mountains of racism, injustice, and inequality. In death, he has inspired us to rise out of our low statuses and to keep moving to higher heights, to keep on keeping on, and to keep moving forward.
If you can't fly, then run.
If you can't run, then walk.
If you can't walk, then crawl.
But whatever you do,
whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward.
It won't matter so much how we get there, but that we get there. Closer and closer to realizing the truest and highest potential of humanity. To love one another and to esteem each other with the same unconditional love.
But what do you do when you love and they don't love you back? The same thing Dr. King did. What did Dr. King do? He kept moving forward.
When Dr. King was 3 years old, his best friend was a white boy. One day when they were 6, the boy told Dr. King that they couldn't be friends anymore. When Martin asked why, his friend said it was because he was black. Dr. King experienced racism, but he did not give up.
He kept moving forward.
Dr. King was 15 years old when he got accepted into Morehouse College after skipping 2 grades. He had to study hard to do well in college being so young. But when he encountered challenges studying while pursuing his education, he did not give up.
He kept moving forward.
Dr. King was a young pastor. Some people didn't believe that he was old enough to lead a church. But people didn't believe in him because of his age. He didn't give up either.
He kept moving forward.
Dr. King became an activist shortly after he moved to Montgomery. Some people did not think he was experienced enough to mobilize the citizens. he did not give up.
He kept moving forward.
Dr. King had a big family. He was a father and a husband. When he was fighting for us, he had to be away from them a lot. They missed him and wanted to see him in their lives. But he didn't give up.
He kept moving forward.
And we must do the same. Have you ever been in a position where you experienced discrimination? Have you ever been in a situation where people didn't believe in you and you felt like giving up?
I recall experiencing racism as a grade school student. A little white boy would attempt to touch my afro, and this was utterly annoying, disrespectful, and it felt like remnants of racism. I reported the matter to the teachers and the principals, and of course, they just claimed that the little white boy was just curious about my hair. They also said that they are fascinated about my perfectly manicured afro because they had never seen such well-shaped hair.
Keep moving forward.
In middle school, I had always noticed that when the girls had done something that seemed inappropriate or was disrespectful or insulting to somebody, the teachers would always just kind of let them slide by on it. They wouldn't really ever get reprimanded. But when the guys did something that was similar, and when the guys did something that was disrespectful or inappropriate, they never got to slide by. They always got reprimanded.
Continue d'avancer.
I was bullied. Not by a student, but by my teacher. Not by what I could do or what I couldn't do, but because of my skin color.
Zensi Tukakeru. I remember one time I was at my physician's office getting a routine checkup, and the doctor asked me,
"Hi, Chris. Did you eat breakfast this morning?"
"Yes, I did."
"What kind of cereal did you eat this morning?"
"I didn't eat cereal."
"But I thought you said you ate breakfast." "Oh, you must have ate Takis this morning."
This week in school, I was approached by one of my new friends, and we were talking about religion, and he asked me, "Rutherford, are you Christian?" And I said, "Yes, of course I am." And he said, "I don't believe in all that." And he used the S word.
Can you relate to any of the stories you just heard? Has anything like this happened to you before? No matter what kind of discrimination you experience, don't give up. You will make it if you keep moving forward.
What about the families who are unemployed and looking for ways to make money? What about the families who are struggling and the children inside them who have nowhere to do their homework?
Keep moving forward.
What about women who work just as hard as men and on the same jobs as men that get paid less than men?
Keep moving forward. What about the effects of segregation, unequal schools, unequal hospitals, unequal access to healthcare and technology?
Keep moving forward. What about the children affected by joblessness and homelessness? The children who are hungry and don't have enough food to eat at home. What should they do?
Keep moving forward.
What about the people who are angry and frustrated because of police brutality and other kinds of mistreatment because of the color of one's skin?
Keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward and you will get there. At your destination, you soon will arrive.
Whether crawling or walking or flying on wings, you'll get there. Just keep hope alive.
Keep moving forward, even if you are afraid, even if you are low to the ground.
Forward ever. Backward never.
Don't let anything turn you around.
And so just as I say,
We aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around. We aren't going to let any injunction turn us around.
I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead, but it doesn't really matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop.
Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place.
But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to just go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land.
I might not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the promised land.
And so I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
What would Dr. King do?
We must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
Welcome back as we explore the mission and future of Rainbow Push Coalition and Push for Excellence.
In order to better understand why these programs work, we need to get behind the scenes to see how Push Excel motivates and mobilizes young people and the communities around them.
Today at Virginia Union, for all of you young men, Stefan got accepted.
The first time a young person walks onto a college campus and suddenly feels that this could be their future, amazing things begin to happen. Horizons expand, self-confidence grows, and opportunities feel within grasp. For the past 21 years, Push Excel has sponsored tours for thousands of students to visit historically Black colleges and universities. These tours show young people what's possible, how to set their goals, and how to achieve them.
Dr. Martin Luther King, who Reverend Jackson stands on the shoulders of, talked about education and its values. It's not only to educate folks, but also to uplift them and to teach them what is important.
So going downtown one day to speak, I saw children sitting over here, two girls on the steps smoking cigarettes, pregnant, boys rolling dice, playing cards outside the principal's window. So, whoa, it's not enough to have opportunity. We must have excellence, a commitment to break the cycle of mediocrity.
What he saw convinced him the fight had to move inside, into the classrooms, and into a community that had to demand better.
I am somebody. Excel. Right on.
Push Excel has to push children at every age in every school district. And then we have to have a multicultural platform.
It is possible, it is imperative that I learn. A teacher ought to say, I can teach. I ought to teach, I must teach. And thus we start with a very attitudinal premise. And we often say that it is not your aptitude, but your attitude that determines your altitude with a little intentional fortitude.
Push Excel was founded in 1975 to further MLK's vision for education. The goal was always to inspire, motivate, and educate while making sure that state, local, and federal funding would be there to make a quality education possible.
We're especially focused on our high school and college students, but our reach goes all the way back to K through 12.
Science, math, engineering, and technology creates jobs. It is based on contracts, and it's how the world is sustained. You know, everybody talks about the climate and how the environment is being polluted. Well, this generation of young people and the next one have to solve those problems.
We've got young people competing in robotics, which is just so amazing when you see some of the work that they've done. We've got young people with our oratorical contest as young as 6 years old. So while we basically focus on the college bound, we're also interested in the pathways and the pipeline to college.
College has historically been the key to economic freedom for all Americans. Yet a college degree is becoming less and less affordable for the average student in the U.S.
Push Excel is the education arm of Rainbow Push Coalition. And what Push Excel has done is not only provided scholarships for thousands of students, but also provided opportunities for them. We are fully engaged in the process of making educational opportunities available to young, marginalized people.
Since Push Excel began its scholarship program, they have awarded over $10 million to deserving students enrolled in colleges and universities across the country. Push Excel scholars attend a variety of institutions, and 90% of them graduate from college. These scholarships include training in the trades. Not all students will want to go to college, and another of Push Excel's initiatives is to advocate for training at the high school level. The fundamental mission is to get the entire community to buy in, parents, students, educators, and churches, and mobilize them to get involved in the education and well-being of Black and minority children.
We have to make sure that children understand the purpose of education is to really live in humanity in a successful way.
Grow up in a rich neighborhood with a large property tax base, you get well-funded public schools. Grow up in a poor neighborhood, the opposite is true. Inadequate school funding derails the future for students already struggling against the odds, and we end up shortchanging not only the students, but ourselves as well.
It's been estimated that each additional high school graduate adds hundreds of thousands of dollars to the economy as they earn better wages and pay higher taxes. High school grads are more likely to be employed, less likely to enter the prison system, and will have lower costs for healthcare.
Everyone loves a story about a poor kid who beat the odds and managed to get into a great school, but we should be asking ourselves, why do we allow it to be such a rare thing?
When we come back, we'll talk to people whose lives have been transformed by Push Excel programs and the power of the people who believed in them.
Join the movement, join Rainbow Push. You know?
Thank you so much, Josh and Felicia. Again, today we want to send 10 young people to 10 universities and 10 cities, and we need your support. $100,000 is the goal, and we want to introduce you to the woman who every single day is working on behalf of our young people. She sends care packages. She's an advocate. She is a daughter of the movement. She is a lawyer. She's a wife. She's a pastor, she's a minister, but most of all, she's a mother. So she understands why it's important to make sure that our young people have the best educational opportunities. So again, I want you to consider supporting us today as we again send 10 young people to 10 colleges in 10 different cities. But our executive director, Reverend Dr. Jeanette Wilson, is going to show you how you can support us.
Let me express my thanks on behalf of the Board of Trustees for Push for Excellence. First, we want to thank Felicia Lawrence, we want to thank Josh Morris, and of course our own Bill Curtis for all of the hard work that they've done to make this possible. Also, we want to thank a person that you never see, you never hear a voice, Kathy Rivera. She has been our producer, an award-winning producer, said, let me help you all produce this. And so we want to thank Kathy Rivera for all of her hard work. And there's a whole team behind the scenes at Push Excel that have helped to make this production possible. I want to thank all of you. But more than anything, I want to thank our founder, our leader, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. It is his vision that has caused us to get to this point. And so we just wanted to show you some small glimpse of Push for Excellence and what we are called to do and what we've been able to do. And with your help, we're going to do so much more. What do we want you to do? We want you to give your time. Some of you can volunteer to be mentors. We have a speed mentoring program where we ask corporate executives and corporate leaders to come and have a what we call speed mentoring, where you sit at a room on Zoom or in person with some of our young people and you tell them what does it take to move up in your corporation, what kind of positions are available. So we need some mentors, speed mentors, and it's online. You don't have to take away from too much of your time, but we need your time. Those of you who have benefited from Push Excel and Rainbow Push and the work that Reverend Jackson has been able to do all these years, we need you to volunteer time. There's so much that we're trying to do. We have a stock market game. We teach our young people about investing. We're going to be talking about this new cryptocurrency. I know you don't know what it is. I'm just learning, but we're teaching our young people so they start at preschool thinking about investing in a future that they haven't yet seen but is yet to come. We have an oratorical society. Why? Because we want our young people to be able to communicate. Many of them will be congressmen and senators. They have to speak the language that is used around the world, and we want them to be able to use their voices to speak truth to power. And then we have a STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math. We're teaching coding. We want them to become digital architects. We want them to design and create new communities for us to live in and better places. It's also talking about medicine. We are in the midst of a pandemic. These young people will be those who will decide the cures for many of the diseases that we have taken for granted and kind of accepted. They are our future, they are our present. How do you help? You can give some treasuries, give your resources so that we can invest in these programs and these young people. We take hundreds of students on college tours. Why? Because you can't see what you can become until you see what's possible. When they go to those campuses and they can see themselves as professors and see themselves, what I need you to do is help us send children and take students on college tours. We need your resources to help. We're partnering with Hires 360 and labor and developers and prime contractors. They must invest in their next generation of workers. You need to go online to pushexcel.org. Make your investment. You and I have a role to play. I'm so excited. I wish I could say more, but all I need you to do is to think about this. We give as much as we can, and as much as you give us, we can give to somebody else.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. And again, this is the reason why your support is so needed. Today, we want to share with you a story of a young lady who comes from Push Excel. Today, she is working not just at McDonald's on 75th Street or 87th Street, but she did have to go to Hamburger University because she is working right now in the corporate offices of McDonald's. And so we want you to hear the story of Ashley Nelson, a Push Excel scholar and someone that you should begin to know.
Hello, my name is Ashley Nelson. I am a proud Push Excel alumni. I went through many of Push Excel's academic programs through my high school years. I graduated ultimately from Fisk University, a liberal arts college, an HBCU in Nashville, Tennessee. And after graduating and matriculating through, I had the pleasure of staying connected to Push Excel. But ultimately, the scholarship funding that I received that put me through school helped me to go on to major in political science and work for President Obama, now President Biden. I've worked for the past 2 mayors, and now I am a leader in corporate America, and I am very thankful and grateful for programs like Push Excel that have gotten me through.
Again, thank you so much, Ashley Nelson, for donating your time. All those of you who are watching that come through the hallways of Push, you can be honest and say, if it wasn't for Push, I wouldn't have gotten through college. Or if it was a Push scholarship that got you in and throughout, we want you to reconnect today. We need your support, you Push scholars. We want you to join us as we reorganize and reimagine how to inspire through your story the next generation of scholars. You saw Ashley Nelson's story. Now we want to begin to share, and we also want to begin to volunteer so that young people can know what it's like to make it through college through looking at, talking to, and connecting with you fellow Push scholar. You know who you are. Don't let Dr. Wilson come find you, because you know she will. So listen, as we continue to go on, today is a day in which we are again pushing towards excellence. And so we want you to stay tuned as we continue to go forward in this conversation.
Reverend Jackson has a saying, if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, you can achieve it. The people you are about to meet are proof of the power of that statement. They come from all walks of life, including some of the most disadvantaged circumstances. But they have one thing in common. Their destiny was changed by people who believed in them until they could believe in themselves.
Hi, my name is Lauren Cotton. I'm a senior mechanical engineering major and I attend Tuskegee University. And this year I am a Rainbow Push STEM Scholar.
It's a tremendous honor to be able to receive the scholarship and to have a scholarship associated with Reverend Jackson. It's complete. It's really amazing, and it's benefited me these past few years tremendously academically.
That scholarship helped me to get the position I'm at today. It helped me to network. It helped me to not only advocate for myself, but advocate for leaders that are coming after me. I'm now volunteering here, so I'm paying it forward just to make sure that if I have a connection, the fellow behind me has a connection as well.
And I hope that you all continue to do great things, pushing those students who do not have much, but who have the power to do so much. So thank you so much, and I look forward to helping and giving back when I can.
The connection between Dr. King, Reverend Jackson, and education are inextricably intertwined. Dr. King, as a young man, as a 16-year-old in the Morehouse newspaper, wrote about the importance of education and actually scolded those who are bigoted about their lack of access to education. Reverend Jackson's first arrest was when he attempted to go to a library to check out a book, and they told him no. So we pass the baton on, and therefore we basically embrace and affirm the importance of education for young Black students, both of whom, Reverend Jackson and Dr. King, were young people when they were ignited both by their passion for justice and their passion for equal education.
I look back and I see some people whose lives have been touched. Barack Obama told me one day, he said, we was downtown eating. He said, you know, after the debated Hart and Lawndale, I said, I was a student at Columbia, I said, this can happen. He became president. So to me, it's all about sowing seeds, trying to set the pace for the race.
Every one of these success stories sends out ripples through our city and our culture. When we come back, we'll see how Push Excel is moving Dr. King's vision forward in a time of critical need. One example is Judge Greg Mathis. Reverend Jackson met Judge Mathis while visiting a Michigan County jail where he went from jailship to judge.
Before you go there, or there, start here. Walgreens makes it easy to stay protected wherever you go. Schedule your free COVID-19 booster today.
When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
We are sanctuary. We are a sanctuary.
When I think of Rainbow Push, I think of two words: social justice.
Education advocacy.
Political empowerment.
Freedom and equality.
Corporate partnership.
Stop the violence. Save the children. Don't get it. Shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down.
Political change.
Inclusion, evolution.
Progress. Justice.
Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Somebody protect me. Never neglect me.
Make sure you join Operation Push, Rainbow Push, today. Keep hope alive.
Today you know me as Judge Mathis, television judge for over 23 years, but I haven't always been that. My career started as a street youth and a high school dropout, but thank God for Push Excel. It was Reverend Jackson and his voice of I Am Somebody that convinced me that I could change my life and turn toward working for our community. It is then that I approached Reverend Jackson and told him I wanted to work for our people. he advised me that I had no weapons to work with. And so he told me if I went to college, got out of jail, when I came back, I could work for him. Certainly, he kept his word, because 5 years later, after having been released from jail, going to college, and then having my record expunged, he allowed me to work with him. And I've done that work for him over 3 decades. And Push Excel is where it all started. Indeed, Reverend Jackson mentored me every step of the way, helping me to become elected as the youngest judge in Detroit and in Michigan history 15 years after leaving jail on his advice and his inspiration.
The people who work with Push Excel have seen what can go wrong in our neighborhoods and the many ways the structure of our educational system fails our young people.
But they've also seen what goes right. The future of our country is in our classrooms now. They are the brain power and possibilities that could change the world.
Push Excel is committed and actively involved in an attempt to shape America's education agenda by involving parents, students, community members, and educators in informing policy at the local, state, and federal levels.
There's so many young people, especially in the age of COVID, who don't have equal education, who don't have opportunities to learn, who, because of a lack of access to the internet, don't have the opportunities they need to keep up with their lessons. Push Excel is an advocate for all of that. We are advocates for truth, for justice, and for equal education.
Push Excel launched its STEM Enrichment Academy in 2011 in partnership with tech leaders. They built a Saturday program with a curriculum that includes web design, app design, robotics, coding, building video games, and the mechanics of flying drones. Students who are part of the Push Excel programs show improved grades and test scores in math and science. And now Push Excel is launching a supplemental social studies curriculum, a more in-depth, accurate, and genuine depiction of the role African Americans have played in our global history.
Reverend Jesse Jackson and the Push Excel staff have launched an educational movement to give students a sense of somebodyness. Somebody who has a discipline to stay away from gangs and drugs and focus on learning. Somebody who is part of the solution. Push Excel hosts rallies in schools across the nation, asking students to repeat a number of recitals like,
Down with dope, up with hope, my mind is a pearl. I can learn anything in the world.
Push Excel, in our attempt to shape America's public education agenda, are actively involved in doing so by hosting national town hall discussions where we have the aforementioned persons involved in forming important discussions that we have about how to make sure that public education does not remain under attack. But more importantly, those national town hall discussions, which we host regularly, virtually, are hosted for the purpose of making sure that we gain information from ultimate stakeholders about what those policies should actually look like.
In the words of Reverend Jackson, it's time to reclaim our youth, instill values, provide them with leadership and discipline so they can set and achieve high goals.
My soul is caught up in doing what I do. I thank God for allowing me to be able to serve this long this run, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
I think that we have to get the Push Excel ideology in every public school district in America. Teachers have to have high expectations. Parents must dream beyond what they can afford to push their children to something better.
We have this song, I Believe That Children Are the Future. We sing it everywhere, but do we really believe it? We at Push Excel believe it, but we need partners to achieve it.
When I reflect on the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the living legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson, I can't help but to be reminded of the sacrifices that they made for those of us who are here today, who have many more resources and much more access than they did, and yet they've made a difference. And I think we have a fundamental obligation to take that torch and run as fast as we can with it.
If it wasn't for Dr. King and Reverend Jackson fighting for education, civil rights, and economic stability in Black communities, I would not have been able to grow up in the neighborhood I did, attend the school of my choice, or enjoy the diversity that I did in the classroom. I'm loving my career choice and the fact that I had choices.
I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to the people who paved the way, that made dreams come true.
You can support more of the dream by contacting Push Excel.
Thank you so much for joining us and helping to make a better future today and for generations to come.
Thank you.
We are getting ready to shift gears for a moment. We're getting ready to have a moment in which we celebrate some awardees this year for their hard work and dedication to making the world a better place. This man I'm getting ready to introduce has been doing this work for over 50 years. And we just celebrated his 80th birthday. He is the founder and the leader here at Rainbow Push, none other than Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr.
Mr. President, my thanks to you for being here with us this morning. One of Dr. King's memories, legacy. This is a broad-based legacy. So profound Dr. King, among other things. He was a PhD in systematic theology. Paul Tillich was his guy. Sam Proctor was Dr. King's mentor. Everything Dr. King touches seemed to be another historical journey. Going on tonight, 3 awards. One, the Educational Award, coming from Alma Adams from North Carolina. Profiles in courage, those who stood the heat of the day. Families, the Jelani Days family and Arbor's family in Brunswick, Georgia. We honor them. Jack Lynch, who got us into organ donations, and as well as Dr. Mayo from Botswana. He's the one that discovered the cell that showed Omicron. It didn't come from Paris or Chicago or New York or Washington, London or Paris. It came from a small shop down in Botswana. This man deserves recognition. He is himself we're proud as a maid. We've not paid him the attention he deserves. We recognize him at King Breakfast. We're going to have him in the spring. God bless you and accept your awards. We love you so much. We thank you for being who you are and what you've done. Make all of us better. Never better, but always better. God bless you.
Congress Lady Alma Adams, coming from the state of North Carolina. You know, Reverend Jackson went to North Carolina A&T. This woman has fought for years to make sure that HBCUs have access to capital so that classrooms can be a hub for hope and a gateway to possibility. We pause today to celebrate Congress Lady Adams. We thank you for fighting time in and time out. Regardless of who the president is, her focus is to make sure that our young people have everything that they need to achieve greatness. So we salute you for your work, and we thank you for the resources you have shared with so many young people through your diligence and your commitment to excellence.
Greetings and Happy New Year. I'm Congresswoman Alma Adams, and as the recipient of one of your Profiles in Courage Awards this year, I want to offer my thoughts today. The beginning of 2022 has tested our faith in new ways and perhaps in ways we have repeated. But our collective resolve to work for the good of others has not been diminished, it has been strengthened. My special appreciation and thanks to my Aggie brother, Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr. and the Rainbow Push Coalition that encourages grassroots advocacy, research, and draws public awareness to issues of urgent concern. My special thanks to Dr. Julianne Malveaux for nominating me for this award, former president of Bennett College, where I taught for 40 years. In 2022, we certainly are facing the fierce urgency of various issues, from voting rights to new variants of COVID-19, from strains on our healthcare workforce to the needs of children across the country. It's certainly an honor and a privilege to be the recipient of your Profiles in Courage Award for this year. And so when I look back over the course of my academic and political careers, there have been various moments of courage. When I stood up for women's reproductive rights in the North Carolina General Assembly, when I worked for more than a decade to raise the minimum wage for workers in the state of North Carolina, and when I was the first African-American woman ever elected to the Greensboro City School Board. And now, even now, I'm continuing my fight for education of our low-income, first-generation college student, as the founder and co-chair of the Congressional Bipartisan HBCU Caucus. You see, it was an HBCU, North Carolina A&T, that took this poor black girl who walked the ghetto streets of Newark, New Jersey, and made a committed investment in me, so I now walk the halls of the U.S. Congress. My passion for education comes from my belief in another quote from Brother W.B. Du Bois, who said of all of the civil rights for which the world has struggled and fought for 500 years, the right to learn is undoubtedly the most fundamental. I'm proud of the work of the caucus to spearhead, to pass and enact the Future Act, the HBCU Partners Act, and to drive over $300 million in additional funding to HBCUs over the past 4 years. This Congress, my top legislative priority has been the Ignite HBCU Excellence Act, which would invest substantially in HBCU campus infrastructure, authorizing a new grant program under which every HBCU will compete for funding to upgrade their infrastructure. And so, as I look ahead, I know that my work is not done. There will be many more moments of courage required, but I know going forward that I'm not alone in this work. So I ask everyone today to pause and reflect on the courage you can show. You see, it is these moments of courage which make up what is right and what is just. Again, my appreciation and thanks to the Rainbow Coalition for this honor. Thank you. God bless.
Reverend Jackson is also reminding us to keep hope alive. We heard him week in and week out, day after day, keep hope alive. With this man, Jack Lynch, he's the executive director of Gift of Hope. He has been committed to giving people a second chance in life, in the passing of one, joy to another. And so we're grateful for his commitment to bridge a gift of hope into communities that did not know the power of being an organ donor upon death. And so, Mr. Lynch, we say thank you for giving a gift of hope to so many who did not know and so many who are yet alive because of your courage to keep hope alive. Thank you, Mr. Lynch.
On behalf of my father, Jack Lynch, I want to thank Operation PUSH Rainbow Coalition for this tremendous honor in celebration of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. While he cannot be here with us today, he wanted me to express how much this leadership award means to him and how humbled he is by this honor. For the past 30 years, at Gift of Hope Organ and Tissue Donor Network, my father has been instrumental in building the organ, eye, and tissue donation program targeting the African American community. Throughout the city of Chicago, surrounding suburbs, and downstate, he worked to ensure all had the opportunity to receive life-saving donations. His method of training, dubbed the Jack Lynch method, ensured that families were taught to and not at. He proved communities of color would donate if spoken to in a caring, compassionate, and most importantly, a respectful manner. He is the creator of the first and the only African American Task Force, using volunteers to share their stories and educate other communities. His legacy continues as the developer of the Gift of Hope Malcolm X College Training Center on the Miracle Mile in the Chatham neighborhood. For his dedication and service, he has been recognized nationally by such organizations as the National Kidney Foundation, featured in numerous publications, and presented his expertise to audiences across the country. On a personal note, my father's quest to save the life of so many others took him away from us a lot while I was growing up. But it's programs and accolades and awards such as this that make it all well worth the sacrifice. To you, He is all the accolades just mentioned. But to me, he's just Dad. My mother, sister, and I are immensely proud of my father and all that he's accomplished. And Daddy, it is my honor today to accept this award on your behalf. Thank you.
Whoever knew that walking outside to take a jog would be the last moments of Ahmaud Arbery? We witnessed the trial that caused a lot of us to get into the movement. When they told the ministers to be quiet, Reverend Jackson showed up. He showed up to hold hands and to pray, and to also remind the world to seek justice, love mercy, and walk humbly is our command. And so on today, these two parents who shared their son with the world, and whose tears was a river for justice, we pause to honor you, Mr. and Mrs. Arbery. We thank you for your courage. We thank you for showing us the power that came from your pain. And the world is a better place because of your courage and your willingness to fight for justice for your son.
I give all glory to God because, God made all this, it was a bad tragedy, but God just gave me the strength to deal with it and fight for it and fight for justice for my boy. And it really do, it mean a lot, but it's still just sad because, Ahmaud is not here with me and my family, so it's still sad. But we did get justice for him. I just want to thank God for him. I just thank him for all the years he's been fighting for equal justice for African-American people. He's a mighty brave man because it takes a lot of heart and nerve to stand up to the plate. And I just want to tell him thank you. Everything he did for the Arbery family, and God bless them. It's always some hope. You got to keep on fighting. Don't give up because there's somebody gonna hear you. When stuff like this go down, no matter how it looks, keep fighting. Keep going, don't give up. Keep crying to somebody. Believe me, God gonna send the right people to you to hear your cry. Somebody gonna step up and say something ain't right, and they gonna help you.
Over 60 years ago in Money, Mississippi, a young boy by the name of Emmett Till shaped America. Through the dehumanizing murder of this young boy, America had to own what it had been trying to hide. Little over 60 years later, Jelani Day, a young scholar, Illinois State University, who had a pathway to success, a heart to serve humanity, and most of all, a faith that was unshakable, was found dead, murdered. Investigation now open. But we want to celebrate his mother, who for months cried for help. And now the push is on as we look for justice for Jelani Day. Mrs. Bolden Day, we honor you. We salute you for your courage, your virtue, and most of all, your heart for justice.
Jelani was last seen on August 24th of 2021. It has now been over 4 months since he was last seen. His body was discovered in the river in LaSalle County. Since then, I have been fighting vigilantly to receive answers as to what has happened to my son. There are police departments that are working, have said they are working, that have claimed to be working on this case. However, no one has taken leadership. So it has been my quest to make sure that accountability is now what we are seeking. I have conducted searches. We've conducted marches. Again, my whole quest now is for accountability and to find the answers as to what happened to my son. I thank Reverend Jackson and the Push Coalition for their assistance to bringing awareness to Jelani's case and helping me in my quest to find answers. I'm just a mother that has always been active in all of my children's lives. And now that my son is no longer physically here, I'm still going to be active in his life because I expected to have my son here with me. As I continue on to find out what happened to my son, I thank you, Reverend Jackson, for recognizing me with this award that I don't even deem that I am worthy of, but I thank God that you are looking at me and you see something that I don't even see. I hope too that I can help other families and other mothers and fathers or siblings that are experiencing this disparity that I've received during this quest for finding out what happened to my son, and that I can make changes and that so that they don't have to endure what I've had to endure. So again, I thank you.
In the midst of a pandemic that has caused so much pain, we pause now to celebrate the genius who discovered the Omicron strand. It was Dr. Moyo, who hails from the continent of Africa, who shared the insight, who shared the data, and gave a prescription of hope for the world. Dr. Moyo, we thank you for your genius. We thank you for your dedication to science, but we also are a better world because of your heart for humanity. We celebrate you, Dr. Moyo, and things are going to get better because of what you saw when you stepped into that lab. We honor you.
My name is Sikulile, and I'm a native Zimbabwean, born in Zimbabwe, and I'm living in Botswana. Botswana is in Southern Africa, close to South Africa, so it's a small country. That's where I'm living right now. So in between, I was fortunate to spend some time at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. First of all, I give glory to God for His mercy and His love and the wisdom that enables us to work to improve humankind. And for me to be recognized in this way, I was really humbled, sincerely, and thanks to Reverend Jackson, the Push Rainbow Coalition, for their recognition. And it really shows the kind of values that you stand for in terms of improving human life, improving human condition and our livelihoods. And I'm very grateful, and I'm passing regards to my team. I have a great team that I'm working with, and I'm grateful for the contributions of the funders, the government of Botswana, and the Harvard School of Public Health, the COVID-19 task team, and my institution. And they are so delighted when I told them that Reverend Jackson, and they said, yeah, we know him very well and what he stands for, and we are excited of the honor. We receive it with gratitude. We receive it, it's encouraging us to do more, to push more. And I'm hoping one day when I'm in the US, I'll be able to come around and shake his hand and receive it myself and be able to thank him and the foundation and the people around this coalition for the honor that we've received. Thank you so much. We are humbled. We saw the response of the world, and when you get this recognition, you feel like running again. And you feel like racing again. And one passage that I like is that they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So that gives us hope that there are people in the world who can recognize and value others. And that's a lesson for me that I'll also recognize other people who are doing similar work, who are changing the world and making a little contribution to the space that God has granted us in this universe.
To each of our awardees, thank you for making the world a better place. I don't know about you, but we have had a great time today. We're grateful for our young people who shared. We're thankful for you staying with us. But most of all, we pause to remember and thank God for Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We want you to stay connected to this work today. Simply go online right now at pushexcel.org. Pushexcel.org. You can find more information and you can be one of the many that donate to help us send 10 young people to 10 universities in 10 cities. Again, you can go online, pushexcel.org, to learn more about. But again, today, let's raise $100,000 so that we can say to young people across Chicago and our nation, we believe in you with a scholarship. Again, as we get ready to go our separate ways, stay connected. Reverend Jackson is on Twitter. Trust me, I've seen him tweet. He's on Facebook and on Instagram. All you have to do is look up Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. You will find him. And then those of you that are connected to our organization, those of you who are not, you can get connected. We're on YouTube, Rainbow Push, also on Instagram and Facebook. Just look up Rainbow Push Coalition. And so again, today we thank you for your time. We thank you for journeying with us. But most of all, we need your support. So again, consider supporting our young people. They need you. The cost of everything is going up, including education. 10 cities, 10 young scholars, and let's do this. And let's raise this $100,000 today. I'm grateful to be your host today. I'm Reverend William Hall. And again, the push is on because we got some work to do. God bless you.